Hi everyone, welcome back to my series on the films of director David Lynch. If you've seen any of his films or are going to want to do a video response or anything like that, attach it to mine. I'll add it to the playlist, which is linked below. We're about 5 movies in so far. There's going to be a total of 11. Including his TV series Twin Peaks, which I'll get to in a little bit. The last video I did was on Blue Velvet, and there's a couple things I wanted to mention. I had made that video immediately after rewatching the movie, so I didn't really give myself a lot of time to think about it. And I was kind of at a loss for words. And realizing later that one of the reasons why I didn't seem to have a lot to say about it is that despite the fact that it's a decent movie, I really just don't care about it that much. It didn't inspire a lot of feeling in me either way. Not that it's a bad movie, it's decent enough. I just don't care about it that much, you know. It's a shame. Also, one of my commenters corrected me. Dennis Hopper was actually not nominated for supporting actor for that movie. He was nominated for a couple other awards for his performance in Blue Velvet, but not for the Oscar. However, David Lynch earned his second Best Director nomination for that movie. It's only his 4th film. He's already got 2 Best Director nominations. Impressive. And he's due to get 1 more later on. So the next movie is Wild at Heart, which came out in 1990, and this movie won the Palme d'Or, the grand prize, at the Cannes Film Festival, the grand prize that's also been won by Pulp Fiction and, Amour, which is the Michael Haneke film that is coming out later this year. And a lot of people were really angry about that. They thought that this movie really didn't deserve such a prestigious award, and I kind of got to agree with them. I don't like this movie very much at all. Never have. The first time I saw it was on a double bill with Blue Velvet, which I had seen on video, but not in the theater. A theater called the Music Box here in Chicago was showing a double feature, so I got to see both of them on the big screen, which is great. But Wild at Heart's not a very good movie. The story is actually pretty simple. You've got this guy, Sailor, who's played by Nicolas Cage, and he's in love with a girl named Luna, who's played by Laura Dern, who is also in Blue Velvet. Now, Laura Dern's mother is played by her real mother, Diane Ladd, and Diane Ladd does not want the two of them together. In the very first scene of the movie, a guy walks up to Nicolas Cage saying that Laura Dern's mother hired him to kill Nicolas Cage, and he pulls out a switchblade, and immediately Nicolas Cage grabs him by the head and slams him into the wall and slams him to the floor, leaving a big bloody mess, and then he goes to jail for a few years. And when he gets out, he wants to get together with Lula again, and Lula meets him, and they take off in a convertible. But Diane Ladd is, of course, very angry about that, and she wants, the Sailor dead. She talks to a guy named Johnny Farragut, who's a longtime friend of hers, played by Harry Dean Stanton, and says that, he needs to go and find out where Sailor and Luna are because, I can't have him with my daughter. And then she also talks to a gangster by the name of Santos, who's played by J.E. Freeman. Those of you who are Coen Brothers fans know his gangster film Miller's Crossing. J.E. Freeman played the Dane. He's a very tall, intimidating character. So Santos says to her, well, I'm going to go and kill Nicolas Cage, but I'm also going to go kill Harry Dean Stanton as well, because he knows a little bit too much about what's been going on with us. As it turns out, and this is where things get complicated, these are details I didn't remember from previous viewings, Nicolas Cage used to be a driver for Santos. Driving people around or doing errands, whatever. And as it turns out, he was present on the night that Santos and Diane Ladd killed the husband, basically. The husband and father to Laura Dern was burned alive, basically, in his home when they set the place on fire. And because Nicolas Cage was there, they figure he might know a little bit too much about that and might tell his girlfriend, Luna, that her mother had her father killed along with this gangster. And so, it's all a big mess. It's a big, big, big mess. So Santos is going after the couple, and he subcontracts out to this other guy who's got criminals in his organization, and he in turn sends the jobs to kill Nicolas Cage and Harry Dean Stanton to 2 separate groups of people. It just gets really complicated from there. You've got one group of people, one of whom is played by oh gosh, I'm having trouble remembering names here. Isabella Rossellini from Blue Velvet, she's in it, and there's another group in which there's a woman who's basically dressed exactly the same as her, which is really sort of confusing. Only she wears a leg brace. And then you've got, the guy from the Warriors, David Patrick Kelly, right? I really like Patrick Kelly a lot. He has like one line in this movie. He's got such a small part. Very, very disappointing. And Crispin Glover's in this movie too. He's only got one line. He's got a slightly bigger part than David Patrick Kelly, but you know, he gets such billing and high billing in the credits, and yet he's only there for just like a few minutes. It's crazy. Jack Nance is in the movie again. He plays, he of course was the lead in Eraserhead, and he plays a guy who just sort of hangs around. He's somebody that Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern run into as they're on the road. And I think it's a little weird that David Lynch keeps hiring him to play these tiny little parts. I mean, he obviously likes the guy. He obviously gets along, so why wouldn't he have given him a character to play rather than some guy who pops in and says something really weird and then, you know, you never see him again. It's strange. Oh, and the carnival barker from Elephant Man, he shows up as well. He plays a guy who talks like Daffy Duck. He shows up for one scene. You can't tell what the heck he's saying. And he's sitting there in the bar with Nick Cage and Laura Dern, and they're looking at him and smiling, going, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's just like quacking at them and quacking at people around him, and then he leaves. What is the point of that exactly? There's a lot of weirdness simply for the sake of weirdness in this movie, and I guess there might be a reason for all of it, but the answers are certainly not obvious. You know, it's just yeah, a lot of craziness, and just a lot of weird things are happening, and people are just behaving strangely and dressing strangely, and there's no explanation for it whatsoever. Meanwhile, you've got Laura Dern and Nick Cage. They're continuing their affair, you know, and they're hopping in and out of hotel rooms and going dancing and going drinking, but they're losing money. You know, they don't have a whole lot of money between them. And so Nick Cage runs into a guy played by Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe plays Bobby Peru, an extremely sinister guy. He wears sinister clothes, has sinister hair, and has really ugly, sinister teeth. And he tells him, "Hey, I know you guys don't have a lot of cash, so why don't you help me go rob this feed store right here, give you a couple of grand." And it's just such an idiotic move to hook up with this guy, because he's so clearly not someone you want to spend any time with at all, let alone rob someplace with. You know, it's big trouble. I will say this for the movie. There are lots of really good close-ups on cigarettes. People complain about movie stars making cigarettes look glamorous, and certainly cigarette smoking looks pretty glamorous in this movie. You know, they have big close-ups on matches, and when you take a pull on a cigarette, you know, the paper kind of burns away from the end and leaves a whole bunch of ash there. These beautiful, beautiful, large close-ups of cigarettes being pulled on. Which is, you know, exciting, but yeah, it's just, you know, there's a lot of style in this movie, a lot of heavy stylization, and not a lot going along story-wise. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of this picture. Yeah, never really liked it all that much. No, there was a couple other things that I wanted to say about it, but aside from the fact that they constantly talk about the Wizard of Oz and always are referring to the Yellow Brick Road and Emerald City, and you've got a good witch character and you've got a bad witch character. Oh, I forgot to mention, this movie actually came out after Twin Peaks, the TV series, had started. So there's a couple of people from Twin Peaks in it. Cheryl Lee and Sherilyn Fenn. They have a couple small roles in it. But yeah, all in all, not much of a point to the movie. Pretty simplistic storyline that's needlessly overcomplicated with a lot of backstory, and a lot of you know, backstory that doesn't really pay off. For example, the character of Santos, this gangster, he says he's going to kill Nicolas Cage. I'm going to get into some spoilers here. Spoilers involving the ending. If you haven't seen it, you don't want to go spoiled, now would be a good time to not watch it anymore. But Santos, he's promised Diane Ladd to kill the Nicolas Cage character. And he doesn't, and Nicolas Cage ends up going to jail for a few more years and then getting out again. And still, it's like everyone just forgot that this gangster was going to kill Nicolas Cage. You keep figured that at the end of the movie, someone would walk up to him and blow his brains out, you know, because Santos ordered, you know, said that he was going to kill him years and years ago, but of course that doesn't happen. So, yeah. Oh, and the ending really reminds me a lot of Con Air. The way Nicolas Cage gets his girlfriend pregnant and then goes to jail for like 6, 7 years and then comes out again and wants nothing more than to see his kid for the first time in person. It's like exactly like what happened in Con Air. Of course, Con Air came out after this movie, so I figured that the screenwriter probably just copied that movie. Or maybe it was just a big coincidence that Nicolas Cage got cast in it. I don't know. Anyway, not a terrific movie. However, after that film happened, there were a number of other really good stuff that David Lynch did, which I'll be talking about. But first, it's going to be Twin Peaks. I'm not going to be reviewing the whole series, but I'm going to watch a bunch of episodes from the first season. So I'll be talking about that on Thanksgiving Day, American Thanksgiving Day, which is Thursday. And I hope you'll tune in for that. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you again real soon.